So, this is Amverb. It's a reverb pedal that we make. It's an emulation of a vintage 12-bit digital reverb unit from the mid-1980s. And it sounds really good, but it also has some very specific quirks. In this video, I want to do a proper deep dive into Amverb. We'll run through how it works and, most importantly, talk about how to set it up correctly so you can get the best sound with the lowest possible noise in your setup. Let's take a look. Amverb features a stereo input and a stereo output. The two input channels are summed together before entering the reverb algorithm. That makes it kind of a pseudo-stereo effect, which was very common in early digital reverbs. The output, however, is a wide and spacious stereo signal, and the dry signal path remains fully stereo throughout. You can use Amverb in pretty much any setup, in the effects loop of a guitar amplifier, as a sound effect in your studio, or paired with synthesizers, drum machines, or other line-level sources. The pedal includes a low and high shelf EQ. We can toggle between mono or stereo operation, and we have the option of enabling tails for the reverb. More on that later. Amverb includes 64 programs ranging from short slapback echoes all the way to massive 20+ second reverb tails. There are also some more unusual programs, including reverse delays and gated reverbs. The programs are organized into 8 banks with 8 programs per bank. You can scroll through the banks using the bank button and select individual programs using the program knob. As you move through the banks, the programs generally increase in length. The first bank focuses on short echoes, the second contains room-style reverbs, and they get progressively longer and more experimental. The final 2 banks contain gated reverbs and reverse delays. Here is the full program list, and you can also find this in the user manual. The mix knob goes from fully dry to a wet-dry mix to fully wet, making the pedal ideal for use in a parallel effects loop or as a send effect in a studio setup. The low and high knobs apply tone shaping to the wet signal only, allowing you to fine-tune the tonal character of the reverb. The EQ cutoff points can be adjusted using the secondary controls. To access those, hold down the bank button and turn the low or high knobs. The tail switch allows the reverb to continue decaying naturally even after the pedal is bypassed. You can disable the tails feature, and in that case, the pedal engages its true bypass feature instead, using a relay to completely bypass the pedal from the signal chain when it's disabled. Amverb supports 2 onboard presets, indicated by the red and blue state of the LED above the preset foot switch. Right now, we're on the red preset. Any changes we make are instantly stored to that slot. If we switch to the blue preset, we can create a different sound. Press the foot switch again, and we're instantly back to the red preset. Press it once more, and we're back to blue. And there is no need to perform a save operation. It just updates and saves as soon as you make any changes. Finally, let's talk about the input and output controls, because this is where things can sometimes get tricky. As I mentioned at the beginning, Amverb is based on a roughly 40-year-old digital device. It's a very faithful recreation of that device, and so you do have to treat it the same way as you would a 40-year-old digital device. The reverb algorithm runs at 12-bit resolution, and that's really important to understand, because a 12-bit system has a very shallow noise floor compared to modern digital effects. To get the best results, gain staging is absolutely critical. You want to make sure the pedal receives a strong input signal, so you're fully utilizing all 12 bits and keeping quantization noise as low as possible. The input knob allows up to 12 decibels of gain boost. On top of that, the software editor lets you apply an additional 15 decibels of input gain if needed. If the output level becomes too hot, you can simply turn it down using the output knob. Because of the 12-bit nature of the pedal, Amverb is not suited for use directly in front of a guitar amp. Even a clean guitar amp introduces a fair amount of non-linear behavior. It's just not that sharp clipping kind of distortion, but rather a nice rounding of the waveform which adds character and body to the sound. It's subtle to the ear, but it's still significant. But what that effectively does is boost the quieter parts of the signal while compressing the peaks. When you feed a 12-bit digital effect into that kind of system, the quantization noise gets amplified along with the signal, often to the point where it becomes clearly audible, and it can end up sounding something like this. So, what are our options? How are we supposed to use it? Well, we use the reverb pedal the way that a reverb pedal is supposed to be used, in the effects loop. This places the most non-linear part of the signal chain, the preamp, before the reverb. The output of the pedal then feeds into the relatively clean power amp section. In this configuration, the quantization noise remains extremely low, and the reverb sounds full, clean, and spacious. So, if you're experiencing excessive noise with Amverb, the solution is almost always proper gain staging and correct placement in the signal chain. Once that's dialed in, you'll get exactly the sound the pedal was designed to deliver. Amverb definitely isn't your everyday reverb. It's a throwback to a very specific era in music history, a time when engineers pushed early digital technology to its absolute limits. And we wanted to capture it all and not make any compromises, because all those little quirks, those are the things that make it sound the way it should. And that's what makes it interesting. Thanks for watching, and keep making music.